Hello and welcome to the Pinfall. Roses are red, violets are blue, Valentine's is over, we have a takeover to get through. That's right, today's episode is a review of NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. We've got 5 matches on the card to go through, 3 titles and 2 Dusty Cups. My name is Wilbs, joining me as always is Barnsey and Jordan. How you doing, lads?
Yeah, very well, Wilbs. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm really pleased with how the show's going so far. We've had really good support and feedback so far. If you want to support the show, please remember you can give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. And remember to follow us on Twitter. We are at the Pinfall Pod. Right, let's get on with the show. The first match on the card was the final of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez defeated Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. This was a really good match, full of near falls, some good spots. I remember Ember Moon diving off the top rope. That was an incredible move. Did you enjoy this one as a starter for the pay-per-view?
Yeah, it was a big match to open with, actually, considering it was the inaugural Women's Dusty Cup. And yeah, like you just said, it was an incredible match. All 4 women are excellent, so you knew it was going to sort of live up to those expectations. Shotzi felt like she took a few heavy bumps, and I was like sort of watching it live and sort of jumping in my seat. I was like, oh Christ, like some nasty bangs. But yeah, a great match. I think for the winners as well, it was the right choice. So yeah, as we get through this takeover, I'm a big tag team fan, so this takeover was certainly well up my street.
Yeah, I thought it set the tone for the rest of the card. Actually, it was just such a great match to start. And yeah, like Jordan said, all of the 4 women in it are just becoming bigger stars in their own right every time they go into the ring. And Raquel Gonzalez has just kicked on from her War Games victory, and I just think she's such a big star in NXT now. And I'm hoping that on the back of this, she's going to obviously maybe get into the title picture eventually as well. In the singles realm.
Yeah, so I was going to say, what's next now? Because obviously Dakota Kai and Gonzalez, they get a tag team title match. Do you reckon you can see them winning it?
I'd like to think they'd win it. I think you said it on the previous pods, Wilbs, about having sort of the women's tag belts go to NXT and maybe just get nurtured a little bit and given a little bit more love. So it makes sense for them to win it in my eyes. I quite like that they won the cup as well, because they are a bit more of a legitimate tag team than Ember Moon and Shotzi. So, yeah, I hope they get it. I think like Nia and Shayna as tag champs, they sort of fight each other and they're not really sort of a tandem. So it'd be quite good to see it go to Kai and Gonzalez, bring it to NXT for a bit. And hopefully even going to Raw and SmackDown, just get a few more women tag teams around it instead of just throwing these single competitors together.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if Kai and Gonzalez got the belts, actually, because obviously they are NXT wrestlers, and it'd be interesting to see if they then got to the opportunity to go up to Raw and SmackDown and fight women on there. But I think we've discussed on previous pods that the women's division, and especially tag teams, is much more. There's a lot more tag teams in NXT rather than the main brand, so. I actually hope they win it, and I was trolling through the internet as you do, and looking on social media, and it's interesting now that they are going to fight Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, knowing that old Dakota Kai is sort of dating Shayna Baszler. It's be interesting to watch them two come together, like it was, with Riddle and Rollins at the Rumble, and just when you've got this outside sort of real life element to it, it just sort of adds something when they sort of come together in the ring. And so I just think for the fans, it'd just be another. Yeah, it'd be good to see what happens when they fight.
I think as well, Shayna and Raquel Gonzalez going toe to toe as well will be incredible. That'd be a good matchup. I look forward to watching as well.
Yeah, through this tournament, they've obviously made new tag teams in NXT, and it'd be a shame if they just made them just for this one-off tournament. So by bringing the tag team titles over to NXT, it could keep them together and build them up, and that's exactly what we've been asking for, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, do we know, I imagine we might find out when the next NXT is, but it'd be interesting as well when they do get their title shot, or when it's planned for. I can't imagine they wait till Mania. They may wait till Mania, but I feel like there'll probably be a defence before then, hopefully on a pay-per-view, not just on a random NXT or Raw. That would be a bit crappy, really. It should hopefully be on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, they got Fastlane before WrestleMania if it was on the main card, so it could happen there.
What I think is also quite good, though, is that obviously I touched on saying Dakota Kai has not been the NXT Women's Champion before, and obviously Gonzalez. So yeah, it'd be quite good for their careers if they can add a belt to their name before they go on and maybe get the call up to the main roster. Just having that little accolade to say they've been a champion is always like a big thing when you come up. And obviously there is only the one NXT Women's belt, so by having the tag titles go down to NXT and maybe float around there for a little bit, I think be good for the company as well.
Yeah, definitely. Next match on the card was the North American Championship match. Johnny Gargano, the champion, defeated Kushida in a really good match. Again, some really good spots in this one. Gargano hitting the one final beat on the ramp and then again in the ring to get the 1, 2, 3. Perfect match, in my opinion.
Yeah, this was literally close to perfection. The whole way through, I thought at about 3 or 4 points that either man could win when they were hitting their finishers, and it was just explosive, big-time hits. Even when, on the way to the ring, when Dexter Lumis takes out Austin Theory, I was sort of thinking that now Gargano's left alone, that maybe the title would change hands. And I think in a way I was hoping Kushida was going to get the push now, but I'm not disappointed that Gargano's defended, because I think the way he's developing into a pretty good heel. He's like one of them annoying heels that you sort of almost love to hate. He tries to add an element of humour, and I don't know. I think his character is sort of continuing to develop. So it was a great showing from both men, and like the first match, it just continued to roll as the pay-per-view went on, and they were just both as close to perfection for me as as you get.
Yeah, this is as we've known through the years, this is just what Johnny Takeover does. He's just incredible in the ring, and for Kushida as well, who's sort of been in NXT, but it felt like a good match for him to sort of bring himself to the forefront and show what he's really capable of. Like you both just said, just an incredible match. I think everyone as well thought this was the title that would change hands, and it's quite surprising it didn't. But the positive from that is they just get to run this back again, and hopefully they do go again, because just an incredible match. And I love both guys. I think the way with Johnny Gargano is just really good heel work at the moment, and giving Kushida this opportunity. I don't think it'll be long before he does have his hands on that belt.
Yeah, I absolutely love Johnny Gargano at the moment. I love the way, and I think we were saying maybe it was just under a year ago, like what next for Johnny Gargano? He was in that sort of position where he wasn't sure what was going to happen. Same sort of thing with Tommaso Ciampa. But Johnny Gargano has just sort of reinvented himself, a new character, a new stable. It's very fresh and very entertaining.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I was thinking, 6 months ago it was getting a little bit stale for him, and you sort of felt like he sort of maybe missed his chance to go up, but I'm glad that he stayed now, and he's, like we say, developed this great heel character, and the stable that the way are, they're actually quite entertaining, and he's just, when he's in the ring, he just proves that he's missed the takeover every time.
And maybe Dexter Lumis next for Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, he's been in and around it a few times, Lumis, so it'd be interesting where this goes. I'm hoping this wasn't just a one-off match for Kushida and they keep giving him these opportunities, because he certainly proved why he deserves to be in matches of this caliber.
Okay, third match of the night was the final of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We had MSK defeating the Grizzled Young Veterans in another amazing match. Wes Lee, oh my God, he was incredible. He was diving everywhere. When he dived from in the ring, sort of outside, that was unbelievable. Really good match. I'm a big fan of both these teams.
Yeah, for me, this was probably match of the night. I just couldn't take my eyes off it, just from bell to bell. Just absolutely incredible. And that sort of dive onto the outside. He did a move as well in the ring where he sort of did like a backflip and then sort of kicked him in the head. And I was just like, wow. And there was that Doomsday device onto the outside, which I honestly thought they sort of messed up because I thought it was going to land on his head, but it was just absolutely sinister. And like you just said, I think both tag teams are just excellent. Their chemistry in the ring was amazing, and where you've got like the high flyers, and then you've got Zach Gibson, who's sort of the big guy. It sort of worked so well having him sort of come in and dominate. And once this match had started, I really didn't care who won because I think they both deserved it. And it's good to see Grizzled Young Veterans up on NXT because they came up before the pandemic, but unfortunately due to it, they sort of got put back into England. And hopefully now this is the start of them coming right to the forefront because they are excellent.
Yeah, it was just another example of NXT developing loads more stars, because when the tournament brackets were first announced, I probably wouldn't have predicted this as the final. And now that now the tournament's played out and we've seen the final, I'm just delighted that these two got to meet in the final. And it was just quite a good little story that they had, because you had like the Grizzled Young Veterans trying to avenge the defeat they lost in the final last year against like basically debutants that we hadn't seen in NXT before. And it just shows that when they're put in the ring together, magic can happen. And I think you've highlighted some of the amazing spots that we saw, and just the way the match ebbed and flowed. It was like you didn't really know who was going to win again. And just the unpredictability for me in wrestling when you're watching a match, and the storytelling is just what I watch it for. And if you were going to show anyone who wasn't a wrestling fan, a match to get them into it, this would definitely be one of them for me.
I just need to know from an American's point of view what they think of Zach Gibson's accent, because he has a thick Scouse accent, and I'd just love to know when he's on the mic how they see it come across. But they're just the full package, Grizzled Young Veterans, and they'll be tag champs soon. I'm sort of disappointed we didn't get them versus Birch and Lorcan, because that would have been an incredible match as well. But MSK is definitely the one for the future as well. They're just incredible.
I was going to say, I don't think you can write off either tag team like the winner. I think for me, they've both come out of this as winners. And even if they were eventually to have like a triple threat with Oney Lorcan and the other guy, it would have been, there's so many good matches to look forward to.
Yeah, I just think like the main roster could do with two teams like this at the moment. I know like they're both going to be sort of hovering around the NXT Tag Team Championship, but these two really are really good teams that could really flourish on the main roster, in my opinion.
I think as well, it's quite nice to have a final where they were both legitimate tag teams, because NXT were sort of going away where they were sort of throwing people together. So it was quite nice to have the final of two proper tag teams in it. I think the previous winners was the Broserweights with Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, and then you had Black and Ricochet before that. So it's quite nice they've gone back to like two legitimate tag teams to win this cup, because essentially that's what you want it for, is these tag teams to be given this sort of stage and this opportunity.
Yeah, like the women's one as well, have really highlighted tag team wrestling. And I can you see MSK going on to win the titles?
Yeah, definitely.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm hoping so more than thinking so, because I do like the tag champs as well, but they've not really been around on NXT actually too much recently. They've more been just, fluffing up Pete Dunne. So, be good to actually see them back in the ring again soon.
Yeah, completely agree. The next match was for the NXT Women's title. It was a triple threat match. Io Shirai defeated Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. In what seemed like the shortest match of the night. And it didn't probably seem to come off as they would have liked, with the table spot obviously getting missed because it collapsed. What did you guys think of the match?
I basically returned. I watched Takeover in two segments, so I stopped after the MSK's Dusty Rhodes victory, and I resumed on this match. And when I come back, I was like, "There's no way that they can live up to the three matches that have already sort of transpired already on the card." And it sort of was a little bit deflating and a little bit of a letdown for me. I like you say, I think they not sure it went exactly how they planned, and I don't know. I like Io Shirai, but I sort of wish that there was a new champion. I think that she sort of had her day now, and it'd have been nice if they could have maybe let Toni Storm win. Not massively keen on Mercedes Martinez winning it, but I'd have quite liked to have seen a new champion, Toni Storm, and just to continue that storyline of her always getting the better of Io Shirai and maybe, continuing the feud.
Yeah, I loved Tony's reaction when the table went, and she's just there like, oh, well, shit, now what? It was great. But yeah, I'm in agreement with what you guys said. It didn't just seem to sort of work how they probably wanted it to do. Before going into the match, it definitely felt like Mercedes Martinez was there to take the defeat. And then again with Io, I'm not fully on board with her. Just I don't know what it is. Maybe because I'm quite a big fan of Toni, and I'm sort of hoping she would win. I just think she's sort of the full package at the moment, Toni Storm. But hopefully they go again. It does feel quite nice into the story that Io didn't actually defeat Toni to win, and Toni, pinned her in the Mae Young Classic. So this match sort of helps develop the story. So hopefully it'll go down the line and Toni is sort of the new champ soon for me.
Yeah, I think almost like Barnsley said, I think it's probably sort of in the card was almost on a disadvantage just because it followed the sort of three really good matches, and especially the men's tag match. So I think, maybe a bit of a disadvantage there. But looking ahead then, Io Shirai, who can you see her facing next? Because the reason I ask is today on Twitter, Bayley said that she wants to face Io Shirai. And there's been a lot of rumours going around that the NXT titles, men's and women's, will be defended at WrestleMania. So could you see that match happening, and would you want to see it?
I mean, you can see why the NXT titles are going on to Mania because, since NXT's been on sort of USA Network, they are definitely pushing it more that way. And even the Rumble winners are sort of teasing going for those titles. But I'm not too sure. I'd prefer if it was just given two NXT stars to have an NXT title match on WrestleMania, or even just keep it to their own sort of takeover around Mania. But Bayley Io would be a very good match. But I think there's more matches I'd rather see than that.
Yeah, I think after last year's Mania, and obviously this year they've announced that it's going to be 2 nights, you sort of do expect that the NXT title was probably going to be defended. I know last year Charlotte won and then challenged Rhea, so it was always going to be at Mania, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit more of a crossover this year at Mania with some more NXT matches on it. And just in terms of Bayley against Io, I think it would be quite an interesting match to see. Obviously, that's where Bayley was built, and she always talks about how she built NXT and how all the other females that have followed her are following because of the ground she laid and whatever else. And I do feel that at the moment on SmackDown, she's in a little bit of a stale moment. She's managed to sort of, help Belair progress in her career, and she was the longest reigning champ last year, so she's just coming off the top a little bit. So it'd be nice, it'd be an interesting matchup to see her against Io Shirai. But like George said, I think it'd be interesting if they could promote some more people or more female talent within the NXT roster rather than go after Bayley. Really, for me anyway.
Yeah, the thing is with Bayley, like you said, is she's had a really good year, and she's not really going to get rewarded with a top WrestleMania match. So if they put her with Io Shirai, it'll be for a title. But maybe they could put Toni Storm in or someone else in with them to make it a triple threat. And I don't know.
I assume if they're going to put both NXT titles on Mania, there's not going to be a takeover around Mania. I'd take it.
Well, it's 2 nights, isn't it? So it was the night before, wasn't it? So I guess they can't do that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But all I would say about Bayley is obviously she has had an amazing year. So I think if anyone's got the right to call out anyone and have to fight someone even on NXT, then she's definitely earned the right. And if she wants to fight Io Shirai, then I'm up for Bayley having that opportunity.
I think as well, just sort of in terms, they do like the Raw and SmackDown draft and you're like superstar exclusive, and they sort of still treat NXT as the developmental. So it'd be strange if like Bayley then just rocks up on NXT to go for a belt, but then it's sort of it takes away all like those things you've built over the year where you've had draft rooms and whatnot. So it'd be interesting how they do set it up as well. Is Bayley just going to turn up, or is there going to be like an open challenge? So it'd be interesting how they do set up for it to happen at Mania if it is happening.
Yeah, because if you just think who else could challenge Io Shirai next, I mean, you've got Toni Storm, but she's just had a match. I guess you've got Dakota Kai and Gonzalez, but they'll be going for the tag titles. So I know they've got a very strong women's division, but they need to think who's next in line, really.
You'd have to think as well, if you're trying to get Bayley on the Mania card, Rhea Ripley's got to be someone you need to get on the Mania card as well. So, could even be a triple threat, or Io versus Ripley. I'd be down for that. Or, Rhea seems to be in a bit of a limbo as well. It feels like after a Rumble performance, it feels like she's not being done dirty by being kept on NXT, but it feels like we're almost waiting for her to rock up on Raw or SmackDown, and we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, do you think they don't know what to do with her?
Yeah, potentially. Unless they're going to have like a women's chamber match, and she might be like a surprise entrance into that. I'm not too sure.
Or maybe they're just trying to build up a little bit of suspense so that when she does turn up on the roster, you do get like a big pop. But it's just really difficult times, isn't it? Because there's no crowd, so some of the reaction you would get is sort of lost in just watching it on the telly. Like you just instantly think back to Edge returning last year. It's just such a big pop, and if there was no crowd for that, I don't know. It's sort of not the same, is it? You pop yourself inside, but you almost pop more when you see other people reacting to it.
Okay, main event time. Finn Balor defeated Pete Dunne to retain the NXT Championship. I mean, before this match happened, I just knew it was going to be a great match. You just know these two are going to deliver, and they absolutely delivered. Oh, obviously, we'll talk about what happened after the match first, but good match, in your opinion?
Yeah, amazing. I am a massive Pete Dunne fan. So absolutely buzzing he was in the main event and going for the NXT title, and just him and Finn, I can't believe that they've never sort of faced each other before. Just incredible. I do like this new sort of side of Finn where he's having these very grounded, hard-hitting matches, a lot more like technical ability involved, and like Kyle O'Reilly before Pete Dunne, he's just they're perfect for it. I do love the way Pete Dunne manipulates the fingers and does that like snap. It's just it's excellent, and yeah, just a brilliant main event, and just so happy to see Pete Dunne at that stage now in this career. And at 27, he's so young, and he's got such a future ahead of him.
Yeah, I love this match. It's what the fans have wanted. Like I think you touched on, they missed each other when they were in Europe, and they missed each other when they went to Japan. So it just felt like it was always destined to happen. And what a match! I mean, you just want to see more and more of this. It's good. I'm quite happy. Like George said, I'm a big Pete Dunne fan too. But I like the fact that they've kept trusting Balor going into Mania season, because I think he'll probably maybe defend against someone pretty big at Mania. He's obviously continued his run as having the most takeover victories. He's now won 7 title matches in a row, so he's developing. Like, he's gone back to NXT to take over again, and he's been given the opportunity. Wondering if sort of who's going to be next for him, but yeah, just an incredible match. When you watch wrestling, you want to see Matt wrestling. Like, don't get me wrong, the glitz and the glamour and everything else that surrounds it's great. But when you get an old-fashioned match like we've touched on with Timothy Thatcher and what he brings to the ring, and you're seeing it with Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, Finn Balor, just amazing wrestling, and it was completely different to any other match on the card. So when you get to it and you see something like that, it's just a great throwback, and yeah, I love the match.
I think Finn Balor's really been amazing since he's won the NXT title. I think every title defense has been like amazing, like 4 or 5-star matches really every time.
Yeah, and we knew Finn could do this. It's no secret to how talented he is. It's almost a crying shame that he's not on the main roster doing this with the likes of Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre or whatever brand he was on, but he's certainly one of the main guys on NXT, and he's elevating guys with him, which is, that's what you want from your main title holder. It's not just to, elevate your brand, but the people you go in the ring with. And I imagine Mania has him versus Karrion Kross all over, because that's probably the match everyone wants to see. And yeah, he's just incredible. He's just really carved himself out now in NXT and just sort of become what he wants to be. And yeah, I love Finn Balor as well. Just an excellent wrestler.
Do you think we'll see the Demon again anytime soon?
If him and Cross go for a while, I imagine he might bring it out. But yeah, hopefully.
I was just going to say, it's just like another element to his character, isn't it? So he's got this badass, like, unforgiving style in the ring, and then he's got the demon that, you know, in the back of your mind, if he gets screwed over too much, he could bring it out. So, yeah, just, I love Balor, and like George said, it's just great that he's now back dominating NXT. He's just, what a wrestler.
I was just going to say as well, before Pete Dunne come out, I loved Danny Burch. He was like so British. He was going, "Go on, son, do him in the ring, son, get the job done, son." And it's like, it was just so British and just proper made me die. I was like, oh, just those little things just make me laugh. And it was good to see, you know, the Brits heavily involved in this takeover.
Yeah, well, speaking of Burch and Orkin, after the match, they came down and attacked Finn Balor, only for the Undisputed Era to come down for the save. There was the four of them standing in the ring. It looked like possibly Finn Balor was joining the Undisputed Era, only to be super kicked by Adam Cole. Kyle O'Reilly was looking puzzled to see what was going on, and then he got super kicked by Adam Cole as well. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's like mixed emotions for it. I'm sad that the Undisputed Era has come to an end, and we're not going to see them have that sort of main roster run together. But it felt like it was coming, and yeah, it makes sense. Why would Adam Cole want to play second fiddle to Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor in the Undisputed Era when he is the leader? He is the man, and it's good. It's great for Adam Cole. It felt like he's been in a bit of a lull. So this, if he's not coming up anytime soon, gives him, you know, he can sink his teeth into two excellent wrestlers to have some big feuds with. And poor Roddy, don't know what happened to him now. He's just going to sink into the abyss, I imagine.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it had mixed emotions, because, yeah, it would have been amazing to see the Undisputed Era come up to the main roster. Well overdue, like we've all said, you know, a number of times. But it's, yeah, I think it's sort of time they had a little break, and you just think of all the matches that they can have now moving forward. And it's interesting to see what dynamic they go with, because has Adam Cole now left the Undisputed Era to, you know, go solo, or has he kicked Kyle O'Reilly out the group and he's gonna, you know, have the other three? It's sort of, it's left to see what they're going to do with it. Obviously, you know, I'd imagine we're now going to potentially get a triple threat for the title, maybe, or there's just so many avenues they can go down, which is quite exciting. And although that, you know, we're not necessarily going to see the Undisputed Era all come up together, I'd imagine at some point in the main roster, in maybe if it's 2, 3, even 5 years' time, if they ever got back together, do you know, like when they were teasing the Shield getting back together a couple of years ago, that pop on the main roster will just be like, you'll just be craving it. So it's sort of, yeah, it's a little bit bad at the moment, and it's, you know, it was on Valentine's Day, so it was one to the heart, but I can see exactly why they did it, and it's exciting now. There's some big matches to come.
Yeah, I was going to echo what you guys said. It is mixed emotions, because obviously we all wanted to see Undisputed Era come up together as a four. I would have even taken Finn Balor coming up with him, just because he's maybe got the name which Vince McMahon might have liked. And it's also a bit heartbreaking as well that Adam Cole isn't coming up anytime soon, because he's now going to be having a couple of feuds down in NXT. But on the flip side of that, it could be the best thing that happens for NXT, because now you've got Adam Cole getting stuck into a couple more feuds. It's going to really be what everyone wants to see. I know it's not in the main roster, but we want to see Adam Cole.
I actually think in the next 6 months, Adam Cole will be on either Raw or SmackDown. I think he's just going to help set up Kyle O'Reilly as, you know, the main guy of Undisputed Era on his own. And then I imagine he'll come up maybe post-Mania. I can't imagine him being down there too much on his own. And I read somewhere, I thought it was quite a good point, that it was probably the best time to do it when there is no crowds, because Adam Cole is so popular that if you're trying to get him to boo, like the crowd to boo him doing what he did, it would be so hard on a takeover when he's, you know, ultimately so popular. So when we talk about like we need the crowd for the pops, this one actually works quite nicely without it, because you can sort of pump in the boos that you want. Because if he did that in a full crowd, they're probably all going to cheer. It was sort of like how they brought Edge back to make Becky Lynch like a heel, but the crowd weren't having it and sort of like celebrating when she had a dig at him about his neck and stuff. So, yeah, hopefully, I think I'm more hoping he's going to be up in the next 6 months, and yeah, can't wait for it.
Nice one. Well, let's just sum it up then. NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. What a pay-per-view.
Yeah, amazing. I actually feel like it's one of the takeovers since the pandemic where like the only thing missing was like that loud crowd, because it was so good and there was a lot of big names off it, and it was sort of left on the shoulders of a lot of people who not necessarily main evented or had takeover opportunities like this. So for them all to pull it off just shows the depth of NXT.
Yeah, I was literally just about to echo them words. It was like the first takeover without Damian Priest, without a Rhea Ripley. It was potentially, until the very end of the card, the first takeover since about, what was it, Will, you said in the group, May 2017 or something like that, without an Undisputed Era on the card. So it just shows the depth that NXT have got, and just the amount of talent in that developmental brand that they just put on shows. It doesn't matter who's on the card, it just delivers. Like, even Karrion Kross wasn't even on this card. We've got him coming up. Legado del Fantasma weren't on the card. Tommaso Ciampa. There's just so much talent that still wasn't on that card that, you know, there's room for them on the next takeover. It's just, yeah, they all just deliver, and they're all just fighting and jockeying for a position on the card because everyone wants to be on a takeover.
Yeah, completely agree. NXT looking strong again. The rebuilding continues. That's it for today's show. Thank you very much for listening. Please remember to give us a follow on Twitter. Give us a review if you can. Give us a follow. And we will be back for Ask the Pinfall later on in the week. So please look out for that one. That's been a Pinfall. That's the 3 count. Ring the bell.